I'd like to call the Onslow County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Monday, May 19th, 2025 to order at this time. We'll start by asking our county attorney, Mr. Brett DeSalms, to lead us in the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you and conduct the business of Onslow County. Lord, be with the commissioners as they deliberate tonight, granting them wisdom, strength, and guidance. We pray for our emergency services personnel as we recognize Emergency Medical Services Week and are grateful for their sacrifices and service. Keep them safe and grant them wisdom and strength they need in every challenging situation. And as we observe Foster Care Month, we pray for foster families and social workers. Grant them endurance, strength, and guidance they need as they care for the children in our community. Amen. Now, with the deep respect for the faiths and beliefs of those gathered here, let us pause for a moment of silence. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to ask Troop 9133 of Scouting America to lead the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll please stand, that troop will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize the elected officials that are here with us tonight. Register of Deeds, Ms. Amiga Jarman, our Sheriff Chris Thomas, and our mayor from Holly Ridge, Mr. Mayor Pete Perrin from Holly Ridge, and then Mr. Walter Zabicki from Holly Ridge Town Councilman. Did I miss anyone that come in? I can't see. Angie Todd from the Board of Education, and I cannot see her. Richlands. Yes, I could not. Thank you for coming as well, too. I was sitting here, Marilyn Bunchy from Richlands. I was sitting here having a moment. Thank you for being here. At this time, we need to have a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Item 2, we need a motion for the approval of the items on the consent agenda.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This time we'll move to item 3 with presentations, and we'll start first with a couple of proclamations. Mr. Smitherman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. First, I will read the Foster Care Month 2025 proclamation. Whereas the family, serving as the primary source of love, identity, self-esteem, and support, is the very foundation of our communities and our state. And whereas nationally, there are more than 390,000 children and youth in foster care, more than 10,800 in North Carolina, and 93 in Onslow County. And whereas all young people in foster care need a meaningful connection to someone who can be a support and lasting presence in their lives, and whereas foster, kinship, and adoptive families who open their hearts and homes to children whose families are in crisis play a vital role in helping children and families heal and reconnect, thereby launching young people into successful adulthood. And whereas dedicated foster families frequently adopt foster children, resulting in a greater need for more foster families. And whereas there are numerous individuals, public and private organizations who work to increase public awareness of the needs of children in and leaving foster care, as well as the enduring and valuable contributions of foster parents. And the foster care system is only as good as those who choose to be a part of it. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Onslow County Board of Commissioners, hereby acknowledged May 2025 as Foster Care Month, presented this 19th day of May, 2025.
Okay, Commissioner Bennett will come down and present this tonight.
I want to thank our social service workers, foster care, and all of the other foster organizations. I really can't imagine what it's like to take a child into your house and learn to love and support them and then have to give them back. That's got to be heart-wrenching. So we appreciate what you guys do, and we're glad that we're able to celebrate this month with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Commissioner Bennett, as well as the other commissioners, for recognizing Foster Care Month. As you know, as they indicated, there's 93 children in custody in Onslow County. But what we also know is there's also the unsung heroes in this, and that is the foster parents, as well as the family members and friends that step forward whenever children have to enter custody. In Onslow County, we have 38 licensed foster homes, and obviously with over 90 children in care, they do not have the ability to meet the needs of the children within our county. The numbers of teens that are in care have continued to grow. We currently have 34% of our children in custody that are between the ages of 13 and 17. There are lots of things that you can do to support these children in foster care. I would encourage everyone to consider being a foster parent, but also support those that you know that are foster parents. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smithman.
Yes, sir. Now I will read the proclamation for Emergency Medical Services Week, which is May 18 to 24, 2025. Whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative maintenance, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Onslow County Board of Commissioners declares the week of May 18 through May 24, 2025, as Emergency Medical Services Week in Onslow County, with the EMS Week theme, EMS Week, We Care for Everyone, and encourages the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities, and embrace the theme by not only caring for one another, but never losing sight of the vital contributions that our county's emergency responders make to their fellow citizens. Presented this 19th day of May, 2025.
Commissioner Paul Buchanan will present the proclamation.
It's my pleasure and my honor to honor with this proclamation. Want me to move over some more? Oh, you want them to move over? Come on. He wants to get you in the camera. It's really a pleasure and honor for me because I'm a first responder. Been a first responder since 1969. Still hold certification as a law enforcement officer. So I've been around these people a long time. And it's my pleasure to ask all of you that are emergency services, first responders, please stand. Thank you for what you do. It's a pleasure for all of you to be here tonight. It's our pleasure for you to be here with us. One of the things is that our first responders mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to this community, and they do a lot for our people. They save a lot of lives, and they do a lot for the community. So on behalf of the commissioners, I give this proclamation. Steph?
Thank you, sir. We're in a busy system. The Onslow County EMS ran about 28,000 calls last year. And these fine folks often go underappreciated in a thankless profession, but it's so rewarding that we keep coming back every day. And we couldn't do it without everyone in this room. So thank you for all you do to support EMS, and thank you all for what you do for our community.
Thank you. Now we're going to have the Sons of the American Revolution Law Enforcement and EMS Award for 2025. Representatives of the Sons of the American Revolution will present and recognize two of Onslow County's dedicated first responders for their outstanding public service to the Sheriff's Office and Onslow County Medical Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Chuck Collins, and along with me is Danny Hilton. Danny is the chapter president of our local Sons of the American Revolution. A couple of words about the SAR and a couple of words about these awards before we make the presentation. The Sons of the American Revolution is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, congressionally chartered organizations in America, 1889. And our purpose is fourfold. We want to honor our ancestors who brought us this great country. We want to educate the public on the history of this country. We want to encourage patriotism, and we involve ourselves in community service, and this is part of our community service. We are here to present two awards. One is the Law Enforcement Commendation Medal, ribbon, and certificate, and the other is the Emergency Service Award. I'm going to start, these are national awards. This isn't a local thing. This is a national award. These medals were struck by our national headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky, and they will be presented all over this country by 550 chapters to outstanding men and women in blue first responders. It recognizes professionalism, it recognizes dedication to service, and it recognizes commitment to this community. And our first honoree is going to be Captain Pete Jackson with the Sheriff's Department, if he'll come forward. And I'd like Sheriff Thomas to also come forward. Pete, do you have any family you want to stand with you? Okay. Again, this is our honor to present Captain Pete Jackson the Law Enforcement Commendation Medal in recognition of outstanding achievement and dedication to the maintenance of law and order. Okay. Next, I'd like Katie Raynor from EMT, Emergency Services, to come forward, and her department head, please. Katie. And I'd like to get Katie's family up here. They need to be in this picture too.
Come on.
Granddad.
Come on up.
I know you want your family up here with you. You got a big family. Again, it's our honor to present Katie Raynor This is the National Society Sons of the American Revolution the Emergency Medical Services Award in recognition of dedication to the preservation of life and health under emergency conditions and/or performing beyond the duties normally called for within the emergency medical service profession. Here is your certificate. You want to say a few words? Or, no, okay. Again, it was our honor to make these award presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. We want to have certificates of appreciation and plaque to the Onslow County Board of Commissioners from Scouts of America Troop 9133. Representatives from Troop 9133 will recognize the board with a plaque and certificates of appreciation. Life Scout River Casterline and Senior Patrol Leader and Life Scout William Lynn II and Troop Guide will present the board with the plaque.
Good evening. I'm Life Scout William Lynn II, Troop Guide for Troop 9133. On behalf of the Troop Southern District for East Carolina Council and Scouting America, I would like to thank this Board of Commissioners and past boards for their dedication and hard work for not only the youth of Onslow County, but for what has been done for every citizen in the county. Tonight, Troop 9133 and Troop 490 would like to present a plaque and certificate of recognition to the board. Chairman Foster and Vice Chairman Knapp would come forward, please. Life Scout River Casterline, Senior Patrol Leader for Troop 9133, will present the plaque to Chairman Foster and the certificate to Vice Chairman Knapp.
Thanks, guys.
The certificate reads, "For the board's untiring dedication and support to the young men and women of Onslow County, with your service, the youth will become good citizens and future leaders."
I am Life Scout Philip Dallas Jr. Tonight, our troop would like to present a certificate to each board member for their service to Onslow County. In addition, we would like to make each of you an honorary member of our troop. Tenderfoot Scout Peyton Evans will present a certificate to Chairman Foster and make him an honorary Scoutmaster for Troop 9133. He will also present a certificate to Vice Chairman Knapp and make him an honorary Assistant Scoutmaster. Second class scout, Leliana Stock, will present a certificate to Commissioner Bennett, Buchanan, and Commissioner Lisa Carpenter, making them honorary committee members. Life Scout Jacob will present a certificate to Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Paget, making them honorary committee members.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Life Scout Damian Whiteside will present a certificate to Deputy Clerk Rosanna, making her an honorary committee member. Each commissioner is also receiving the troop's numbers and roasting night patrol patch by Life Scout Thomas B.
No, stay right here. It's a picture. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Good job.
Let's take a minute to give another big hand for the young man that was the speaker for the troop. It takes a little bit of nerve to get up there and stand and speak, and particularly on a night like this when all the chairs are full. So congratulations on having a full night. Good job. At this time, we ask Nathan Awalt to come up for a franchise presentation for the Friendly Medical Transport.
Good evening. Friendly Medical Transportation was founded in July 2011 to provide transportation non-emergency clients to medical facilities in the state. In May 2012, we began operations here in North Carolina. We've been operating in Onslow County as a non-emergent provider since June of 2013. Our corporate office and base of operations is located in Morehead City and currently operate an office here in Jacksonville for the Onslow County operations. Friendly Medical Transportation will be available to service Onslow County and surrounding areas 24/7, 365 days per year. We currently have a fleet of 12 BLS ambulances, 2 advanced life support ambulances, and 8 wheelchair vans servicing 5 counties. Friendly Medical Transportation has an anticipated sale of the company to new ownership in May or June of this year with approval from the Onslow County Commissioners. All operations and management will not change after the completion of the sale. We are asking for your approval for our franchise application this evening.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
I need a motion.
I was going to say, okay, we
I'll
need
make a motion to approve the franchise. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the franchise. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, sir. We asked all the attendants, please set your cell phones to silent or vibrate mode. The board offers public one opportunity to speak during the meeting. Comments should be limited to no more than 5 minutes and may be on any issue upon which the Board of Commissioners has control. In accordance with the board's adopted rules of procedure, commissioners will reserve or shall reserve responses, if any, for the commissioner comment period on the agenda. We also remind everyone that speaks tonight to speak to the board and not to any of the individual commissioners. And we will turn it over to you, Mr. Smitherman, for public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First speaker tonight, sir, is Mac McDonald.
My name is Mac McDonald. I am Half Moon Fire Chief retired. Yes. Tony Padgett, you remember me from years ago, Mr. Buchanan, our paths have crossed. I joined Half Moon Fire Department in 1971 at the ripe old age of 14 and until 1996. I was fire chief from 1980 until 1993. I want to thank the Board of Commissioners for the part-time paid staff they have provided and the dramatically improved funding, which was greatly needed. Since I have 5 minutes rather than 3, when I joined the fire department, we were receiving $2,000 a year from the commissioners to run the fire department for a whole year. So things have changed. I want to speak to the contract that has been discussed. I strongly am against the new fire department contract. And the fire chief, the president, and the board of directors of the fire department will have little to no control over the fire department assets. And the contract would make it much harder to recruit volunteers. The Onslow County Fire Departments are audited every year or a financial review at the option of the commissioners. I would speak to the commissioners, if you spend $1 million on a fire truck, put your name on the title. You know, if we're concerned about assets and control of assets. Furthermore, the press release and a graph that was in the press release on your county website is very much incorrect. I will show that if y'all don't mind for me to show you this briefly. But this is what's on your website, indicating that all volunteer fire departments in 2011 were a Class 9. Well, this is a picture of a dramatically younger looking me having a press conference in December of 1988 announcing that Half Moon Fire Department had gone from a Class 9 to a Class 6. And all of that was done with volunteer. Now, many other fire departments followed Half Moon Fire Department in lowering their ISO ratings. I really don't know where the information y'all were provided came from, but it's simply not true. In the late 80s and early 90s, fire departments lowered their ISO ratings with all volunteer manpower. It is my sincere hope and wish that the county would continue to work with the paid part-time staff as long as the volunteers are willing to do the work. And I believe this is going to be in the best interest of the Onslow County taxpayers. Please sit down with the parties concerned and draft out something that's going to be mutually beneficial with the county and the volunteer fire departments and the citizens of the county. And the other thing that I would add, because of some things that were put in writing, you don't have to be paid to be a professional. And there are a lot of professionals. I think that back in my day, and I was a fire chief, Tony remembers me back from then, but I think that we ran a pretty professional fire department, and Half Moon was the first to lower their ISO rating, but many, many departments followed Half Moon in lowering their ISO rating, and it happened a long, long time before 2011. I am grateful for the support that y'all provide the departments. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody being here. We appreciate Mr. McDonald for coming up and speaking. I think we have several others that will be speaking tonight. But for us to remain the decorum of the commissioners' meeting and our rules of procedure, we're going to ask you to refrain from any applause so we can continue through the business meeting for Onslow County, as that's the rules of procedure that have been in effect for a long time. No disrespect to you or to what you're here for, but to add to following the decorum that we have here. And we appreciate everyone being here to share their thoughts, as this is part of how representative government and your right to be here to speak. But we ask you to please remain. No applause, and we'll get through all the speakers tonight. Thank you. Mr. Smitherman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next speaker is Chris Marks.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, and County Commissioners. Mr. Smitherman. Along with myself is Corporal Kathleen Marks, retired United States Marine Corps. We're here to talk tonight about Wreaths Across America, our favorite subject, and we hope one day will be yours. We recently, our group, Wreaths Honoring Our Fallen Veterans, have accepted the opportunity to lay wreaths at Onslow Memorial Park. We recently, our group was working with the Coastal Carolina State Veterans Cemetery to make sure that those 7,000 grave sites are marked with a wreath, December 13th. Now we've taken on Onslow Memorial Park because they have 1,500 veterans resting in peace over there. I'd also like to take this opportunity to take a moment to thank some media people who have given us support throughout our year-long campaign. We started on December 15th last year, one day after the ceremony was held on December 14th, 2024. In no particular order, but I'd like to start with Olivia Wolfson from WNCT TV9, Morgan Starling from the Jacksonville Daily News, Elena Lester for WCTI, Live and Local Real Talk, Rayford Brown, Kelly Knapp, and Lee Barrows. Wreaths Across America is a national organization, and other than Arlington National Cemetery, most cemeteries go without having all the veterans' grave sites marked with a wreath. We were 2,100 short, as you may recall from my last presentation. Currently, we stand at 1,600 wreaths. We need 8,500 between the two sites. So I'd like to use this forum to talk to the public. That is who we need help from. We've received donations from Texas, an individual in Texas, Martin and Maria Aragona from Virginia. We've gotten one from an attorney in Washington, D.C., but what we seem to lack is a whole lot of support from our own county, with over 230,000 county residents, and we're a military town like everybody likes to remember. So we're asking for support. Go to Wreaths Across America national site, look under Wreaths Honoring Our Fallen Veterans. The wreaths are $17. They're live balsam wreaths with a red ribbon representing the service of these men and women. You will not find in any retail store or flower business a wreath for $17. $5 of every wreath goes to the purchase of another wreath. We need 8,500. Surely we can do that as a community. At this time, we would like to do a special presentation. And at this time, we'd like to ask Commissioner Paul Buchanan to please come to the podium. Corporal. Before Commissioner Buchanan was a commissioner, before he was a teacher, before he was a law enforcement officer, what many people may not know is that Paul was a United States Marine Corps serviceman. He is a Purple Heart Vietnam veteran. And at this time, we would like to give Paul a Vietnam veteran lapel pin. It's a very special pin as it's a lasting memento of our nation's thanks for his service during the Vietnam War. These are exclusive pins that are only being given to Vietnam veterans. And 2 weeks ago, Friday, we were able to go to the local VFW 9133 and pin 8 Vietnam veterans. Also, we would like to honor Commissioner Buchanan with a commemorative pin from the Wreaths Across America. It reads, "Our nation's blood and treasure from a generation ago deserves the nation's thanks and gratitude, something they did not receive when they came home from Vietnam." He now receives that honor. And lastly, Commissioner Buchanan will receive a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, a proclamation signed by President Donald J. Trump. Commissioner Buchanan, thank you and welcome home.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Mark's family. I guess maybe I should have given the applause speech after the recognition of the Purple Heart. So maybe I need to do that one first. But we appreciate and recognizing Commissioner Buchanan for his service. Not only Commissioner Buchanan for his service, but the recognition of receiving the Purple Heart. Then all men and women that have served the United States Marine Corps, any other branches of the service, for your dedication to this country. We thank you. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is Ricky Hardison.
Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners, y'all know who I am. I'm Ricky Hardison. I'm the Fire Chief of Turkey Creek Fire and Rescue. I've been in Onslow County Fire Service for 45 years. There's a lot of members behind that was there even prior to my starting. And I come tonight and I'm glad to see the support of the community here. I'm glad for the opportunity for everybody to get to speak their feelings. I do ask anyone that speaks to be respectful to the commissioners, to the staff, and to the volunteers, because nothing will be accomplished if we don't speak respectful. As Mr. McDonald mentioned, I've seen a lot of stuff posted on Facebook by a lot of people. And a lot of things I seen that disturbed me was not true. And the fire service is a story. It's not a story that started in 2011. It was a story that started over 50 years ago. And I could sit and tell stories as a young boy, toting cinder blocks to build a fire station, of people sitting in this room tonight that pulled up to service station and pulled money out of their own wallet to fill fire trucks up. We like to post figures and we like to post stuff. Nowhere have we ever showed the figures of the time, the sweat, the personal money that wrote this whole story. We as the fire service want to continue to give to our community, to support our citizens. Me personally feel that's how I serve my God, is serving my fellow man. But we want to be treated fair. I hear people make the comments, paid on professional or volunteer. As Mr. McDonald said, we're all professionals. The only difference is some of us don't get a paycheck. I've been going to the mailbox every day for years and ain't got one yet from Onslow County, and don't want one. I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve. We ask that you look at these contracts, talk with us. I don't know who dropped the ball. We can sit here and point fingers all day long. There's a right-hand side, there's a left-hand side, and somewhere in the middle is probably the truth. My mama told me a long time ago that, you know, you got this one and you got that one, somewhere in the middle is the truth. But I think we could sit down and discuss and come up with things that is fair for the citizens. That's all. If we're here for any other reason, we need to go to the House. We're here for the citizens. You know, I really don't understand what changed all of a sudden. Matter of fact, a citizen sent me an email today, said I couldn't be here, but I got 3 questions. Is there a survey? Is there something that says that the citizens aren't happy with the fire service? Is there proof that the fire service hasn't been good stewards of the county money? And the 3rd question was, if it ain't broke, why are we trying to fix it? I have spent the past 2 weeks, I think I still have a wife, I'll find out. And I'll be married 43 years in 2 weeks, if I make it till then. But I have never worked so hard as I've worked in the past 2 weeks to work for free. Thank you for your time and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Hardison, Chief Hardison. Mr. Smithman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is Whitney Cantrell? Yes, sir. Cantrell?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Whitney, and I'm a proud resident of Onslow County. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight regarding the essential role of our volunteer fire departments play and the recent issues surrounding their service contracts with the county. Let me start by saying that Onslow County is a special place. And as much as I love to not ramble and try to stick to script, I do want to add on to what your previous speaker just spoke, because Onslow County is a special place. And let's not forget about like Hurricane Florence. There was a lot of these men and women that came out with their non-county vehicles. Putting the name Onslow County on a vehicle comes with other liabilities. And several businesses did a lot of things for those people, John Davis included. You know, there was business owners that did everything and just helped distribute food that they had that was stocked. But when you put Onslow County on an asset, they can't do the stuff for their neighbors that they want to do to help in a different aspect, as more of a neighborly gesture. Anyways, back to the script. Across Onslow County, we have more than 400 volunteers serve within our fire departments. 400 people who don't get a paycheck for what they do, yet they drop everything when a call comes in because they care. They serve in fires, medical calls, car wrecks, national disasters, often under the worst conditions. We are paying these departments for a service, and that service is being provided. These departments are not drawing salaries. The money they receive is not payroll, it's operational funding. It's used for vehicles, equipment, gear, training, and upkeep. It keeps the firehouse open, the trucks running, and the responders safe. To then say the county should own equipment or assets because of that funding is to turn dedicated volunteers into unpaid employees with no benefits, no voice, no recognition for what they truly are, our community heroes. If we go down that road, we strip them of their passion, their independence, and their identity. They become just another extension. Instead of the proud, committed volunteers we rely on day in and day out. And let's not talk about these calls that actually happen. I manage several tow companies serving Jacksonville and the Onslow County area. Most of the calls we respond to out in the county, particularly the vehicle accidents, they don't happen at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They happen late at night, after hours, on weekends, holidays, and I ask how many of those calls are being handled by paid career firefighters? The reality is our rural areas, it's the volunteers department to show up, not just first, but sometimes the only. They're the only ones who stay with us through it all. When Highway Patrol needs to leave that scene for another emergency or to transport someone to jail, who stays with me or my employees while we clean up debris and load up the vehicle? The fire department. Who directs traffic while my team, myself including my brother, is under a car, hooking up in the dark, sometimes in the pouring rain? The fire department. Who makes the scene safe so we can do our jobs without someone getting injured or killed? The fire department. This isn't a job for them, it's a calling. and they answer at all hours without complaint because they love their community. We need to stop treating them like contractors and start treating them like the life-saving, community-driven teams they are. I urge this board to bring the fire chiefs and the community leaders back to the table. Let's develop a contract that respects the service, gives them a voice, and ensures they can keep doing the work they love on behalf of the community they live in. They may not be perfect, but they're ours. They don't belong to the government, they belong to our people, and they deserve what's better than being handed to them. Thank you for your time, and to all the 400 volunteer fire departments, 400 plus, who choose to service this community when no one else will. Thanks.
Thank you, Whitney. Mr. Smithman?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The next speaker is Cody Dial. I think I got that right. Dale? It is Dale. Sorry about that.
Dale.
Good evening. First, I want to take the opportunity to thank Chairman Foster. I reached out to each commissioner last week with a request that you acknowledge an email, and he was the only one to respond. I come before you tonight not as a concerned citizen, but also as a servant of the Volunteer Fire Service in Onslow County. My family has helped build the Back Swamp Fire Department from the ground up, and I've proudly served that department for the past 15 years as a board member and a volunteer fireman. Today, I stand here before you to those who have given their time, their hearts, and sometimes even their health to serve this community without an expectation of reward. What the county is presenting as a partnership today feels more like coercion. This contract threatens to reduce funding to any department that refuses to sign it. That is not a negotiation, that is a strong arm. It uses taxpayer dollars to punish organizations that have been the backbone of this community for decades. And how can we, with straight faces, tell the volunteer fire departments that if they don't sign this contract that they don't agree with, they'll be penalized with fewer resources to protect the very people they've been sworn to serve? If a department refuses to sign this contract, where does the withheld funding go? Does it disappear? Is it reallocated to other departments that did sign it? If so, how can we say this plan is fiscally responsible when we are increasing funding for departments that comply and decreasing it for those that refuse? That's not about safety, that's not about accountability, that's about control. It is the clear step toward county consolidation and an eventual takeover. Provisions that demand departments turn over asset, including land and equipment to the county, are deeply troubling. Firehouses that were built on the hands of volunteers with local donations, many chicken plates, and community spirit could one day be turned over to the county without the consent of those that built them. You say in the contract that the county recognizes and appreciates the dedication of volunteer firefighters, but appreciation isn't written in lofty paragraphs, it's shown in action. And right now, the action this board is proposing says to every volunteer, sign it or suffer. Many of us are not opposed to accountability, oversight, or even partnership with the county. What we are opposed to is the erosion of our independence, the threat of defunding our existence, and the undermining of volunteer fire departments that have kept this county safe long before there was a centralized contract or a commission. This board must remember that these departments don't belong to the county, they belong to the communities. And if you proceed down this path, you will not only be risking the future of these departments, you will be dismantling one of the last purest forms of civic service that we have left. I urge the commission to reconsider this contract, not just the words, but the intent and the consequences behind it. Let us find a path forward that supports transparency without perceived coercion, improves service without stripping autonomy, and honors volunteerism instead of eroding it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Mr. Smithman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is Greg Brown.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gregory Brown III. Tonight, I'm not going to hit on the same points and topics that everybody else has. I'm sure that the public is in agreement. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about using this forum to put out some of the facts. So, I'm a proud citizen of Onslow County, as well as a local business owner. I have just 5 minutes to cover a lot of important information, so if you find any points particularly interesting, feel free to further visit onslowfirefacts.com. It'll have a breakdown of the meeting by 12 o'clock noon tomorrow. This initiative has been led by a dedicated group of Onslow County citizens, business owners, and retirees. I want to emphasize that my statements tonight are not endorsed by any fire department or Onslow County representative. They come from the voices of concerned citizens. I have carefully reviewed the newly proposed contract, and my team and I have analyzed its contents. It is evident that the contract is one-sided and lacks clarity we need. There are no timelines or performance metrics outlined to provide transparency for both parties involved. The two metrics included in the contract are quite concerning. Fire departments must arrive at dispatch calls within 15 minutes, 90% of the time, and EMS calls that the fire departments are running must be reached within 10 minutes, also 90% of the time. Those metrics aren't concerning. What's concerning is that the metrics are vague. Are we talking 90% of the time? What do we really mean? Are we discussing the performance over a week, a day, a month, a year? Moreover, there's no recourse for the citizens or fire departments laid out in this contract. It raises significant concerns for us as a public. It means our fire and rescue protection could be jeopardized by the decision of just 7 county leaders. If we look back to 2016 when the county took over Bear Creek, many describe that transition as problematic. The county only staffed Bear Creek from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. till this day, ignoring the fact that emergencies can happen at any hour. This situation is a clear example that Onslow County government may lack the commitment to provide adequate fire protection. Another glaring example is Onslow County EMS, which frequently runs out ambulances throughout the year. When you call 911 in a moment of crisis and you expect immediate help, yet the reality is there may not be an EMS crew available. This problem's been known since 2015, and sadly, I only have the metrics from 2015 because I asked for them, and that's all that was sent to me. This happened over 400 times in 2015. I asked Bradley Kinlaw for these statistics. He sent an email to Ms. Outlier and copied me on it, asking that I receive these. That was on Wednesday. Today is Monday. I still have not received it. Now, I'd like to go over some misleading facts from the county's PR campaign, which I know this was voted on the 7th, but you guys started this campaign on the 2nd, which, to me, put 2 and 2 together. This was a decision made on the 2nd, and you guys started to get ahead of it. First lie. This contract was collaboratively created by the volunteer fire department leadership. Truth. While initial discussions included with some fire chiefs, the final contract contained provisions that had never been agreed upon, and obviously, the fire departments have rejected it. Number 2, we're just modernizing an old contract. Truth. This is a complete overhaul that strips the departments of rights and introduces unilateral enforcement with asset seizures without due process. I think all of us in here are American. We know what that is. 3, half-truth. Volunteer fire departments are 97% taxpayer funded. Clarification. While taxpayer funding supports volunteer fire departments, these departments also rely on grants and donations that were not accounted for in this figure. Number 4, we want to protect taxpayer assets if a department fails. Truth. The county admits that it has no current ownership of volunteer fire department assets, yet the new contract allows for retroactive asset seizure, again, without due process. Lie. This won't affect your community's safety. If the volunteer fire departments dissolve due to these stringent terms, response times will increase, especially in rural areas. We'll again revert back to looking at Bear Creek. Number 6, this is an attack on volunteers. The truth is, volunteers have to feel pressured to sign this contract because they had no say in it. They've been threatened that they'll lose their funding if they don't sign it, and they were only given 7 days to review it. For anybody here that would like to know, 7 days is the minimum time Onslow County requires for a Freedom of Information request. If the county can't live by that standard, I don't know why the 7 of you think anybody else should.
Thank you, Cody.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the next speaker is Tammy Zweck.
evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all today. I'm going to finish up on Mr. Brown's statements. Number 7, this is just about accountability, as stated by you all. That is a lie. Truth, existing requirements for accountability are being replaced with vague standards at the county's discretion. 8, lie. The Bear Creek example proves we need this contract. Truth, the Bear Creek issue was temporary, yet the county used it to justify a takeover without exploring collaborative solutions. 9, lie. Taxpayer funded equals taxpayer owned. The truth, funding does not equate to ownership. The county should have secured ownership rights at the time of purchase, not through this contract. 10, lie. While we've been negotiating for years, truth is real negotiation was minimal and rushed, with departments given only 8 days to sign before facing loss of funding. I want to bring attention to a troubling subject. David Smitherman, hired by the county as our new county manager. Smitherman has been given a 5-year contract with a salary nearing $200,000 per year. While this may seem normal on the surface, the situation becomes concerning as we look at his history. David Smitherman was publicly relieved of his duties in Pittsylvania, Virginia. Many of you may have seen the
Ms.
video.
Sweat, we'll refrain from talking about individuals here and stick with the talking points of the situation with the contract, please.
Okay, well, I would like to read an email that I sent to all of you, and I only heard back from Mr. Bennett. I'm writing to express deep concern regarding the proposed contract for the Volunteer Fire Department services in Onslow County. While I appreciate the county's intent to ensure transparency and accountability, this proposal, as it currently stands, presents several serious discrepancies that not only threaten the effectiveness of our volunteer fire departments, but also the safety and financial stability of the residents they serve. It's unrealistic and has vague performance standards. The contract introduces undefined performance metrics that the volunteer fire departments must meet to retain funding. However, these standards are not clearly defined, nor are they objective benchmarks or a transparent appeals process. This opens the door to arbitrary enforcement and potential loss of critical funding based on subjective assessments rather than measurable performance. Asset ownership overreach. The county's provision to reclaim equipment, regardless of whether it was purchased with taxpayer funds, grants, or raised through community fundraisers, is a clear overreach. The volunteer fire departments have historically supplemented county support through grassroots efforts. For the county to assume ownership of those assets disincentivizes community fundraising and undermines the autonomy of departments that have faithfully served for generations. Failure to incorporate stakeholder input. During negotiations, volunteer fire department leadership and personnel provided substantial feedback based on real-world experience and operational needs. Despite this, the final version of the contract reflects little to no incorporation of those insights, signaling a top-down approach that disregards the expertise of those on the front lines of emergency response. Increased bureaucracy threatens volunteerism by introducing layers of oversight and control without offering increased resources to manage them. That contract creates an administrative burden that could deter volunteers. These men and women serve without compensation and already juggle enormous responsibilities. Piling additional bureaucracy onto their shoulders will only drive them away, forcing departments to rely on costly paid staffing models, which taxpayers ultimately are going to fund. The hidden costs to the residents, higher property taxes to cover the paid staffing, and higher insurance premiums due to ISO ratings being lowered for the fire ratings and slower response times. I live in Richlands. I'm considered out in the county. It's a rural area. I'm kind of concerned that we may not have services that we need. I've actually been the benefit of the Rhodestown Fire Department because there was a fire at my home when I lived in their district, and they did a great job. In light of the above, I respectfully urge the board to withdraw the current proposal and delay implementation until a mutually agreeable contract can be negotiated. Establish a transparent working group consisting of the volunteer fire department leadership, county officials, and citizen representatives. Honor community-raised assets by exempting them from seizure clauses unless acquired with county funds. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is Diana Davis.
Good evening. My name is Diana Davis. I'm born and raised in Onslow County. I grew up in the fire service. When I say I grew up in the fire service, one of my first memories of sleeping on the truck bed is Hurricane Diana came through in '84. I no longer am involved in it, but I do truly support them. I've read stuff online. I have read through the contract briefly as I've been sitting back there. I don't think I can say anything better than the ladies and gentlemen that came before me said. I just want to remind y'all of one thing. When y'all leave tonight, stop by and look at your memorial wall. Those are volunteers, including my relative. On that wall is your volunteers that are taking their time, and some of them are laying down their life to protect this county. And I understand everybody wants to know where their money goes, and we want to save money. I get that. But I've done the fundraisers, I've cooked the hogs, I've slept on the truck beds. These ladies and gentlemen are just asking you to sit down, talk to them, let's do what's best for the citizens of Onslow County. Not take over, not get the insurance check, just sit down and talk to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the next speaker is Charles Fretwell.
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all yet again. First thing I want to do is clear up some misspeaks I had last time I was up here, right? Safety danger zones in relations to shooting are actually surface danger zones. I'll remind you that I slept in the airport the night before showing up here, so I was quite exhausted, so misspoke. The other thing I said was that the water moves from east to west in this area in question where the shooting range. No, it moves from west to east, as most folks familiar with the area would understand. Hey, so the topic at hand is the shooting range, commercial shooting range at 454 Pilchard's Branch Road, Sneads Ferry, North Carolina, 28460. Right, the only folks that don't recognize it as a commercial shooting range is the Sheriff's Department and the owners of those ranges. Understand that everybody that I have spoken with, whether it's online or it's directly via face-to-face conversations, make pointedly clear that they pay to shoot on this range. Consequently, no ifs, ands, or buts, what we have is a commercial shooting range that's operating outside of the rules and regulations governing commercial shooting ranges. And the people that are paying the price of that happen to be the Fretwells. I've got a niece that lives 518 feet from this commercial shooting range that shoots 7 days a week without fail. So they start at 8 in the morning and they stop somewhere around 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. 508, and they shoot multiple calibers out there. They're not just shooting pistols, they are shooting large caliber rifles out there. And the noise is deafening. And yet there's no reprieve in any way, shape, or form, other than little Mickey Mouse games that people want me to play in an effort to shut this thing down. It's not my responsibility, right? It's not my responsibility. Sloppily written laws and ordinances and lethargy and the bureaucratic mess is what enabled all this to take place. I also shouldn't have to hire civil attorneys to shut this stuff down. Right? I pay taxes, I vote for you all, and I have some basic expectations, one of which is to take care of problems like this commercial shooting range at 454 Pilchard's Branch Road. Here's the bigger issue. Whether it's commercial or not is irrelevant. The bottom line, there are safety issues associated with this range that I've highlighted in multiple emails to you starting on Friday. First one was sent Friday, and the last one I sent on Sunday. And I want to thank Mr. Davis for actually taking the opportunity to come and speak with me and let it be known that he opened the video that I sent. In that video, I make it pointedly clear the backstop berms on this commercial shooting range are woefully inadequate, right? And the bottom line is when they shoot from that northwest shooting position down the southwest corridor, They endanger the lives that are trafficking through Highway 172 from the west side of Oyster Landing neighborhood to approximately where the intersection of Pilchers Branch Road and Highway 172 takes place. They've got a backstop berm back there that is no larger than 8 feet. The minimum recommendation on almost every source that you look into is 20 feet on a backstop berm with 4 foot wide at the top of that berm. A 4 foot wide is the minimum width of the top of that berm, so 20 feet. Additionally, I highlighted in that video that there are no exterior berms in any way, shape, or form. So when they shoot from the northwest to the southwest, bottom line is the Fretwell property is completely exposed, right? And we get ricochets, we get errant shots, right? Nobody is that good. Nobody can tell you with the absolute and utter certainty that they're not going to have ricochets, that they're not going to have skipped rounds that jump those berms and they wind up in Oyster Landing, Highway 172, or at 1399 Highway 172. Whoever lives there, they are in a direct line of fire off of the northwest shooting position, right? A direct line of fire. Go back, look at the video. You will also see plain as day that the eastern side of this berm terminates. It terminates roughly 50 feet from where there is a target set. What goes right down that, where it terminates, straight down that alley that I point out in that video is Highway 172. There is nothing in between that shooter and Highway 172. Regardless of what these range owners tell the sheriff's department or others, there's nothing out there. They're not 35-foot high berms, like apparently the owners have told the sheriff's department. They're 6 to 8 foot berms. Bullets jump that without issue. And so you've got, there is a serious danger taking place out there off this range. So the other thing that I did, and I'll close with this, I invited each and every one of you in the sheriff's department to come to 1479 Highway 172 to see these safety concerns for yourselves. That invite stands. Take advantage of it, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fretwell.
Mr. Chairman, the next speaker is Victoria Fretwell.
As you know, I'm here for the same thing. The shooting is on 454 Pilchers Branch Road, Highway 172, Sneeds Ferry, North Carolina, 28460. Here's a little bit of the back history. This all started at the end of 2023, calling and reporting the gun range that was going on and getting worse each day. Calls were made to non-emergency numbers and to 911. Reasoning, because we were concerned about our kids and my preschool, which is a huge concern for me. I started documenting the day and time they started shooting. Not one day goes by, they are not shooting. 2025, the owner comes onto my property, Dale Pruno, voiced his words, which meant nothing to me. He had his concerns to why we were calling 911, and he was completely utterly disrespectful. Fast forward to 2025. Still today, nothing is being done with the shooting going on at the location. I stand 5'9", and the dirt burn that I noticed, I looked at, I stood by, is 5 feet. They are shooting towards my daughter's house. I went out on my property, clearly recording the shooting, and heard them speaking to each other. The fear was there. Following that, I called a deputy to come out, and he saw it with his own eyes, and what was happening, and that fact that they are on my property. They are still nothing is being done. Is something actually going to happen when somebody actually gets hurt? When a child gets hurt from a bullet because a child doesn't understand not to go back on their property and walk around and have a great time. It's my property. I can walk on it. My land, my money brought this property. They were shooting less than 30 feet away from where I was standing, and we saw it in action. I should be able to take my grandkids on a walk, but I can't. We have actually cut paths back there for our grandkids to go and walk and explore. We bought this property for our family to build homes on. I also own a preschool, in which some of y'all know that. And some of my preschoolers are autistic, and some of them aren't. And a lot of my kiddos are on the spectrum, and which in return, it takes a huge effect on them. My granddaughter is on the spectrum. How is it fair to the children that are in my preschool? This is not the way things should be. When does it stop? We need your help. We are asking for your help to help us live a normal life. I am asking you all to change the rules, show us that you are here for us, and let us live happy. Put yourselves in our shoes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smithman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The next speaker is Taylor Green.
Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners. It's a lot to unpack. I think Charlie said it best. It's just not safe. They have a professional gun range back there. They shoot from moving positions. It's a matter of time before somebody gets hurt. Even on base, somebody's been shot. Somebody's been shot at a local gun range, indoor gun range. We don't know that they have any insurance. They're shooting within 20 feet of the property, and I'm standing here, and I can see him clearly, and he's shooting a rifle towards 172. It's not safe by any stretch of the imagination. If it was your house, your neighbor, you would be upset. I don't think I need to say any more. I mean, we've heard it. I've been up here several times. It's time to change the rules. It's time to make it a little bit different. They've gone and got a farm exemption now. Shooting is not a farm. Shooting is not a bona fide farm activity. Read the rules. Something can be done. They have a commercial range. Now they've admitted they have a business, but nobody does anything. All we asked them to do was follow the ordinances that was written, be 1,000 feet away. That can't happen. Nobody will enforce it. They've waited so long now that they've got this farm exemption, that they're growing trees and raising chickens and just this laundry list of stuff. Nothing about shooting. Not one word about shooting out there. And it's just horrible. This past Mother's Day weekend, Lexi had to leave her house and go to the park to play with the kids for 3 hours because they shot all day, Saturday and Sunday. It's not fair. Her kids deserve to play in their own yard. So we'd appreciate it if you'd do something about it and put some teeth in it, do something, give the sheriff something he can enforce. It'd be nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Mr. Smithman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Matthew Hayslip is the next speaker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Hayslip. I'm one of the many volunteers in Onslow County. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what everyone's already said, which you guys already know. Just come down and negotiate. Make it unique to each agency. Get the buy-in, get the input from each agency. Make that contract work for the agency, not a blanket one. I've sat on the Fire Rescue Commission for many years as a member and as the vice president. We've always worked together. I don't know what's happened now. We used to have good discussions, long hours, sat in there discussing it, coming up with a realistic plan, something that everyone might not have agreed on, but we came to that consensus, like Ricky said, in the middle, right? We gave and we got. We've come a long way. This just feels like we're going backwards. I give the example, a lot of folks have asked, well, what do you think of it? This is what I think of it. If I own a grass cutting business, you contract with me to mow your yard. I mow your yard. You don't like the service I do, you take my equipment. You take my service, you take my stuff. You do what you want with it now. I have no process, no due process in that. You took everything I worked for. That's not fair. The example, look at the county fire department down at Bear Creek. Check to see how that's running. That is a county-ran fire department with volunteers in there. We probably 60-40, 60% of the calls are answered by the volunteers, 40% by the daytime staff, Monday through Friday. It's there. The rest of it is us, volunteers, picking up and answering those calls. If that's the county's example of a fire department running with the apparatus that we have there, the issues that we have, 2 new engines, fairly new that have so much issues on it, nothing's been done about it. Leaking gauges, leaking connections on the trucks that gauges don't even work, but we're still running those as first line apparatus. Trucks that failed, we couldn't get parts, so the employees go online, find the parts, buy them with their own money to give to the garage to get it fixed. Is that the example of the county fire department we're looking for? Trucks that continuously overheat and break down. A station that we're hoping maybe this year we can break ground on. We've already built 2 other stations in the county in the same amount of time we've been talking about a Bear Creek station. We've got a fire chief who says in our meetings, I don't care about Onslow County. I don't care about the Onslow County way. I'm just here for fishing money. That's the person that's leading our fire department. That's who we want to lead the rest of the volunteers in the county. That hurts. I put my time in. We do a lot of work down there. And if that's the example that we're going to base the county fire department on, that's pretty bad. We've asked, what can we do? How can we help? Nothing. We get silence. Sat in meetings, asked, hey, what do we need to do? How can we further this cause? Nothing. There's no buy-in from us. So that's what you're going to have with all the other departments. You're going to have folks there, but there's going to be no buy-in. That's not what we want. Together as a whole, we've got to make it work. This contract that you proposed, that you agreed on, doesn't work. It doesn't. Let's take a look at it. Let's come back. Let's figure this out. Someone brought it up. Get the agencies together. Commissioners, actual commissioners, let's get you in there, and let's get the citizens involved. Those citizens in that district that it's going to affect. Let's get them in there. Let's make this a group effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is, I think it's William Staley, but I'm not sure. Stanley. William Stanley.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners. Thank you for your time. My name is William Stanley, and regarding the contract, what I see right now is if this contract goes through, it's going to hurt many volunteers, but not the current ones here. Behind me, we come of all ages, but our future volunteers. And when I mean our future volunteers, I'm talking those growing up, those currently in the military, those going elsewhere from other jobs. What they're looking for, though, is a future in the fire service. And by this contract looking at it, right now what I see it doing is keeping us from our volunteers coming through our doors. It's going to slow down as a whole, and because of that, I'd like you to really take a good look at our future jobs in this county, the future of the fire service, from the military coming out to those who volunteer going in from out of the military and into the fire service, which is where I started from. I came out here in Onslow County in '86 because of the military. '97, I was volunteering. What this volunteer department did for me, it gave me the schooling I needed. It brought me with a lot of good folks. It helped me grow to where I'm at today, and I enjoy every bit of it. And I think we need to really take a good look at what we're doing, because our future firefighters depending on everything that we do here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smitherman?
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the public comment portion of this meeting.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Smitherman. We are now moving into item 5, our public hearings. And the first one will be the Lakes at Henson Farms rezoning. And I believe Mr. Metcalf should be coming to the podium.
Good evening, Chairman, and Vice Chairman, and County Commissioners. The rezoning case before you is the Lakes at Henson's Farm rezoning, PRZ 2025, number 5. The applicant is the Onslow County Planning and Development Department, while the owners are the Lakes at Henson Farm subdivision owners. An overview of the request is from Highway Business, or HB, to Residential 15, or R15. The tax map numbers are there presented on your screen. Its location is 2 different roads within the subdivision, Henson Lake Road and Whitecap Lake Road. It's located in the Jacksonville Township, just down the road from here. Rezoning area across all of the parcels is 57.42 acres. This is an existing single-family subdivision, and it came to the light of the Planning and Development Department from those owners that they were zoned highway business. This precluded development activity within the neighborhood. And so staff has worked with getting notarized authorization letters from all owners that were highway business, except for one. And after multiple attempts to their property, we're not able to make contact. Overview of the services for the area. There's a 2-inch Onslow water main along both of the rights-of-way. Property is served by individual septic systems, and the fire service for the property is southwest to an ISO rating of 3. The traffic for the area is the Richlands Highway, or Highway 258. The most recent traffic count comes from 2022 with a trip count of 29,000. Staff estimates the capacity at 32,000. Schools serving the properties are Blue Creek Elementary, Southwest Middle School, and Southwest High School. All schools have capacity, and staff would estimate there'd be very limited impact on the services for the area, as this is an established neighborhood that is almost fully built out. Here you can see the proposed rezoning area. That medium blue color is highway business, and you can see that there is that one lot at the northwest end of the cul-de-sac that is left out. However, nearby zoning is residential 20, residential 15, and residential 8 manufactured. So compare the 2 districts. Highway business, its purpose is to accommodate regional scale commercial uses and foster economic development along major highway corridors where there is sufficient transportation and utility infrastructure. By right, any proposed redevelopment of any of those parcels could turn into a commercial use that is permitted by right, or even multifamily. While comparison, the proposed zoning district of residential 15 is to accommodate moderate density single family development in suburban areas of the county that have access to the necessary infrastructure. Minimum lot size is 15,000 square feet, which all of these lots do meet. And the accepted uses are single family residential. Here we take a look at the comprehensive plan. The district is suburban growth. Its intent is to provide for moderate density residential development and supporting non-residential development on the fringes of the municipalities. So we take a look at the land use and development summary, looking at the residential category, would prescribe a density of 4 to 5 dwelling units per acre or greater for single family residential development. Commercial uses, though, are allowed, provided they support neighborhoods and are found along arterials and at major intersections. Staff concluded that highway business here would not be along a major arterial. It's too far set back off the road. Here you can see the future land use designation of suburban growth. Environmental conditions, there is some regulated flood zone of the AE, however, that is in the common area lot. This project is within the flight path overlay, which does, again, protect our various flight paths, specifically those coming out of Camp Lejeune and New River, would limit uses that would impact that air travel. However, there was no concern from any sort of military impact. We look at reasonableness in the public interest. The supporting factors would be aligns with our future land use map, our objective 1.1 in the comprehensive plan. which we then have a strategy to correct inconsistency with the future land use map by initiating administrative zoning amendments, which this is that first step tonight with our first rezoning of this caliber. So we take a look, objective 6.1 is to promote a broad range of housing. Certainly, we would not want to support access to higher intensity development through an area of lower intensity. Again, speaks to the potential for redevelopment within these parcels. And we want to ensure a range of commercial throughout the county. Strategy of the comprehensive plan is to support that commercial development so long as that commercial development occurs along our collector streets or, again, at intersections, which these properties are at neither. May 1st, 2025, the Onslow County Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval of this rezoning request. The applicant was present, as this was the planning staff, and no citizens spoke against the application. There were several present who were in favor, who just declined the right to speak. No military impacts were presented at the planning board meeting. The remarks from the chairman of the planning board are as follows. The petitioner, Onslow County Planning Development, is to correct obvious zoning discrepancy on 57.42 acres from HB to R15. Attendees did not speak but were in favor, and they were residents and HOA members of Henson Farms. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. Here you can see an overview of the properties and the adjacent area. Here you can see a closer look, and again, it is a mostly built-out residential subdivision. Here you see where we posted the property there along the main rights-of-way, as required by North Carolina state law. And a little bit of a wider view there, and again, we posted this sign, noticed in the newspaper, and sent letters. And has respectfully requested the Onslow County Board of Commissioners consider the proposed map amendment of Period Z 2025 number 7. Adopt a statement of consistency as it relates to the comprehensive plan and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. This concludes the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. We will open the public hearing at this time. Mr. Smitherman, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this hearing?
We do not, sir.
All right, fantastic. So this time we'll close the public hearing and take it to the commissioners for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much. Now we'll move to our next public hearing here. Is the Jacksonville Onslow Economic Development Project with the town of Swansboro.
I'll take that, Mr. Chairman.
I was just saying, Mr. DeSalms, I believe that is you.
Yes, sir. The Jacksonville Onslow Economic Development Partnership, which I'll just refer to as JOED, has identified 2 parcels of land that it wishes to purchase with the intent of stimulating, encouraging, and promoting economic development within Onslow County and its municipalities. JOED has requested a reimbursable grant from Onslow County and the town of Swansboro in the amount of $250,000 each to complete the site construction necessary to market the property when they have purchased it to prospective industries seeking to relocate their businesses to Onslow County. The grant monies will be managed pursuant to a grant agreement with JOED and a MOU, or Memorandum of Understanding, with the town of Swansboro. All grant funds provided to JOED by the county will be repaid to the county within 3 years. It's respectfully requested that you consider, first it'll be a public hearing, and then after a public hearing, consider approving the grant agreement as well as the MOU with the town of Swansboro.
Thank you, Mr. DeSalms. We'll now open the public hearing on this project. Mr. Smitherman, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, we'll close the public hearing this time and bring it back to the commissioners.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, Chairman. I want to thank the Board of Commissioners to start with, this being a project that I started on with JOED as a mayor and working with the town of commissioners. So my first thanks goes to you guys for working and partnering with the town of Swansboro. I want to thank Mark Sutherland. I think he's back over there in the corner somewhere, and Melissa Anderson for their hard work. And I want to thank the town of Swansboro for pushing forward on this project. And I think it's going to be a good project for the community and for the county. So I just want to say thank you to a lot of folks involved to make this happen and make it possible. So thank you.
All right. Any further discussion? I point out, I think Mr. Smitherman was the one that brought that to the table at Joe Ed and had that conversation, then brought it to us, and then town of Swansboro and the commissioners all agreed, and we got everything going there. So good work there, and we look forward to that development. That being said, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. All right, now we're moving to the preliminary resolution on Onslow 2025.
We're going to ask Kevin Patterson, our Chief Financial Officer, to present this one, Mr. Chairman.
I was looking for his name.
Good evening. Tonight I am presenting and requesting the preliminary resolution to application for the issuance of debt to the LGC. What we are looking to issue debt for 3 projects: the Bear Creek Fire Station, multipurpose building, and the Morton buildings. The acquisition and upfit of these 3 buildings, these are the 3 new money projects, total approximately $30 million. There are also 2 additional refinancings that we are closely monitoring for the 2015 LOBs and the 2015 refinancing. Those are an additional $33 million, which we're currently tracking at $1.5 million in savings with the financing. There was a 3rd refinancing that we were tracking, but at this point in time, we do not see it as practical. And that's why the original advertised amount was not to exceed $74 million. That number will be reduced.
All right, thank you, Mr. Patterson. Do we have anyone signed up for this? We'll open the public hearing. Do we have anyone signed up, Mr. Smitherman?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, no one signed up.
All right, we will close the public hearing and bring it to the commissioners. Need
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just wanted to say a special thank you. Special thank you to Kevin Patterson, our Chief Financial Officer, for an excellent job at dumbing down all the finances so most of us can understand most of what you're doing that is benefiting the county and the money that we steward. Thank you so much.
Any further?
I'll second that. Kevin, I really appreciate your willingness to communicate and answer questions. Just appreciate what you do every day.
Any further discussion?
Let me just note that that these bonds are for law enforcement, public safety, for our fire service, for our sheriff's office, for our senior services, and agriculture.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. So that brings us to item 6, general items. We're at the resolution to oppose House Bill 765. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. I'm asking Carter Metcalf to help me with this because he understands the details. But this is a current Senate bill being considered at the General Assembly that greatly erodes the autonomy of the Board of Commissioners to make decisions around land use. And we ask that the board oppose this legislation, and Mr. Metcalf will give you some of the more practical applications of this troublesome bill.
Good evening again, board. It is a long bill. There are many different provisions in there that limits the authority of the local government, as in our county specific, to have a voice and control the future of our community. It generally seeks to standardize regulations, not in a good way, across the entire state, where now the rules of Onslow County has to play by the same rules of the largest jurisdictions. For example, one thing that it would force the county to do would be to remove minimum lot size and establish a bare minimum residential density across all districts would effectively remove R15 and R20 from our books. right? So it is the goal, I think the intent certainly could be to serve with increasing efficiency, right, which our department 100% supports. However, the provisions would not do that and would again remove control, specifically even around subdivision, around conditional rezonings, completely changing that process, which the county just put substantial work into to make it easier for applicants to come before the board and talk about changing their property. So I won't go through the entire, I think it's over a 47-page bill of the Save the American Dream Act, but simply it does erode the authority of the local government, that last bastion of the right of the citizen to control our community.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. So we need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? So if everybody, Mr. Metcalf speaking on that was the fact that would remove what you would want done with the zoning in Onslow County and change it quite a bit. So it keeps the process, by opposing this, it keeps the process here locally with revisions and things that you would want to be done as a landowner to bring it to the planning board, then eventually to the commissioners. Otherwise, it changes it drastically. So any other conversation or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. So we'll move right to item number 8, manager's comments. Mr. Smitherman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of brief things. And some of you are aware that we graduated our second EMS cadet class last week, and they have touched more than a dozen high school students' hearts and minds. We've turned one of our cadets into an employee now, and we are working to expose our youngsters to the opportunity of being in community service, particularly in this case in the emergency medical service. But likewise, we want to expose them to other great careers in local government. And we are doing that in concert with the city of Jacksonville. The city manager and I are developing and soon will announce publicly a local government summer enrichment program that high school students can apply to participate in, where you learn both county and city government, as well as the roles and the career opportunities in each. It's one of the many ways that the city and county managers have been talking about how we improve civic engagement and civic education in our youth and in our community. So we're looking forward to probably a little later this week making a public announcement and making available applications for that summer enrichment program. And then finally, I'll share with you that that we have received requests for qualifications from interesting firms to help you design the indoor recreation facility that is among your top 4 priorities to accomplish this year. We will be doing second interviews of 2 firms coming up, and then we'll be bringing back a recommendation to begin the public input process of what our community hopes to see out of an indoor recreation facility for all its citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Smitherman. I will go to commissioner comments at this time, and we'll start. Commissioner Bennett, we're going to start with you tonight.
You would. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would first say that the EMS cadet graduation program was awesome. Thank you for mentioning that, Mr. Smitherman. I applaud our EMS supervisors who envisioned that program and are carrying it out. I do have to address several of the speakers tonight. First of all, the Fretwells and Mr. Green. I have met with them. I have met with our attorney. I've met with Mr. Metcalf. We've tried our best to find a way to address that horrible situation. I totally agree with them. I'm going to throw the blame to the state of North Carolina. Our legislature takes away, we just passed a resolution. Our legislature loves to take away our authority. They're making our counties into urban cities without the authority to regulate the way that our urban cities have the authority to regulate. So we struggle as we get more and more people here to address those urban issues that we don't have the authority to address. But we will keep looking for ways to help with that situation. And then I got to talk about the fire service. And I got to start by saying, you guys, we appreciate the volunteer firefighters. I don't know how many times I can say that. But this is a situation that needs to be cleared up. This agreement has nothing in it that is not exactly or very similar to all of our adjacent counties having their volunteer fire service agreements. One speaker said, what's changed? Why do we have to do this now? Well, I'll tell you what's changed. In 2017, we supported the volunteer fire departments to the tune of $2 million. This year, we're proposing to support our volunteer fire departments to the tune of $10 million. We've supported the fire service by $45 million since 2017. Look, I don't give money to failing organizations in the amount of $45 million. These are taxpayer dollars that we are supporting your volunteer fire services with, and we want you to succeed. That's why we've given you $45 million since 2017. And we're going to hopefully, we're going to keep funding you so that you can be successful. Now, let me tell you, I used to be a volunteer firefighter a long time ago. I remember how it is when the alarm sounds and everybody runs to the truck. I do. And your fire chiefs have certainly sounded the alarm over the last 2 weeks. It was a false alarm because this agreement is not that big a deal. As long as you keep providing the service, that you've been providing, we're going to keep giving you money. And all we're asking is if you ever get to a point where you can't provide the service anymore, then your equipment stays in your district and continues to serve the citizens of your district, the taxpayers who paid for that equipment, and continues to serve in your district. Read the contract. It says your equipment goes to another nonprofit, or if there's not another nonprofit fire department that can serve the district, then it comes to the county, so we try to serve the district. So it's only a year, guys. It's a 1-year contract. If you don't like some of the terms, let's talk about it. We got a year to talk about it. Surely, goodness, you can maintain your ISO rating as 6 for a year, just 12 months, that's all. I love the analogy that one of our speakers had about the lawnmower. I think that's a great analogy. If I buy you a lawnmower and ask you to cut my grass, and you decide you're not going to cut my grass anymore, or you can't cut my grass anymore, yeah, I want my lawnmower back. I'm going to give it to somebody else that will cut my grass. And that's exactly what we're doing here. That's all we want of you. Yeah, that's right. You may not like some of the details in this agreement, but we can work on those details. But I am responsible for giving away $10 million of taxpayer money. And if I'm going to give away $10 million of taxpayer money, the taxpayers have to have some interest in what they're buying. And right now, with no agreement, the taxpayers have nothing. So you guys sign the agreement. Let's make this thing work. We'll get it done. You got a year to fix it. Don't worry about it. We don't want to take over your fire departments.
Hey, Commissioner Bennett.
We appreciate y'all being here.
Commissioner Davis. I'm going to leave our other three for the last. You're next.
Well, I'm not a politician, guys. I don't pretend to be. I'm here because of you guys. And something was on one of our publicity things, used that Onslow County matters. And if y'all remember what I campaigned on is you matters. It really bothered me. It really did. I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but it bothered me. I just want to read a quote. Chairman, I may be a few minutes. I may be the one that y'all are looking at. Is he going to finish up tonight? Abraham Lincoln, it's a simple quote, comes to mind every once in a while, that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. And I believe that we're supposed to be the government for the people. That's you. I am completely torn on this thing and bothered by it all. And I can tell you that some things happened over the weekend. I got all excited. I thought we were going to make some progress. And then I think I actually made the phone call and found out that it died. And I was just sitting there just dumbfounded that we had an opportunity. I want to thank Hubert Volunteer Fire Department and Chief Williams. And Miss Lucinda let me come because I know she was upset with me, and she still let me come, so I'm thankful to her. I want to acknowledge Walter Scott, former commissioner that's here tonight. I want to acknowledge Assistant Chief Stanley. Thank you for your words. I want to thank Whitney Cantrell for her words. I watched her on the soccer field, and she's taken that same tenacity from the soccer field and taken it to life and really making it. What a successful young lady. If she was here, I'd ask you to applaud for her, even though I guess we're not allowed to applaud, which I didn't know, right? There's opportunity to work together. I think, Brett, correct me if I'm not allowed to say this, but I think this is what we agreed that we could do afterwards. But Brett is allowed to write administrative policy on some of this stuff to help with clarification. So I encourage y'all to please call Brett. Any chief that wants to meet with me, I will come to wherever you are. You don't have to come to me. I will come to you, and I will sit down and listen. I can't make any promises because I'm one of 7, but I will come sit down and listen. And I will bring it back to Brett, Tony, Lisa, and Paul as the partial committee, ad hoc committee that we formed, and let them know what y'all were thinking and what you'd like to try to do. And perhaps we can work with Brett to get administrative policy in place to support the contract. I think that's at least some way to help smooth the waters. But I'm willing to meet with any chief. You call me and tell me, and I will adjust my schedule to try to be there. Mr. Brown, I want to thank you, if you're still here, for your thoroughness and your willingness to speak as an independent citizen, to do your homework. Couple things that I might have had some questions on, but man, way to be a part of the public system and to make your point and to be there. I am concerned that this affects taxes, and you guys do keep the taxes down. Because I can tell you that if we have to stand up fire departments all across this county and pay staff, that it will cost us money. It will cause the taxpayer rate to go up. Guys, don't get me in trouble. I'm trying to, look, I'm not a politician. I'm just sharing my heart right now. But I thank all of you. I thank y'all for being a part of the public process, showing up tonight, supporting your chiefs. I thank you that you want to come to the table and talk. I thank you that you have ideas. I value your ideas. And I hope that we can get to a better resolution and that we can heal relationships, partnerships, and have a long-term working together, because without the alliance with you guys, it'll be a struggle. We could not have put the fire out the way we did at Crown Point. the one that the base had, who was standing guard at the fire at the base? Y'all were. I believe it's Hall's Run, right? Y'all were standing guard on that. We've had several fires that without you guys, we're going to be calling in from other counties across the state to try to handle this. You guys have been amazing. And as I said 2 weeks ago, your financial management is fantastic. Y'all are doing a lot of things right, and I appreciate that and respect that. Mr. Hayslip, I think you hurt me the most. I don't know where you are. You said some words and things that I hope our county manager will look into. That really broke my heart to hear that, some of those things. And I'm thankful I think we all forget, sometimes when we volunteer for something, we forget how much of ourselves we invest into something. And if something's broke, like a fire truck, it's important to us. It's part of who we are, and we go spend the money to get it fixed. But some of the things you said really concerned me, and just thank you for your honesty on that. Yeah, so I'm thankful for you guys. I hope that we will continue to listen to you guys. I hope that when you contact Brett, or if you contact whoever on this board, that we're able to figure out some administrative ways through the policy that go along with the contract that makes your job easier, that makes you know that we value you and that we lean on you and we recognize your service and your work. And I thank you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. We're going to go out of order a little bit than normal and have Vice Chairman Knapp next.
Well, there's a lot to be said. First of all, I want to thank the Boy Scouts of America. I really appreciate the fact that you guys came and presented the plaques to the commissioners. Took a lot of guts for you, young man, both of you, to get up there and speak. You did a great job, and I'm very, very appreciative of it. It says a lot about our community. Kevin, I can't say enough about you and the work you do as our Chief Financial Officer. The workshops today were superb, very professional, very detailed. I don't think there's anybody smarter in this building when it comes to finances other than you. And I really appreciate everything you've done and all the work that you put into it. You took something and made it easy for an idiot like me to understand and grasp what you're talking about. So I really do appreciate that. And I don't know where Mr. Marks is. He's gone. Mr. Marks has worked really hard and diligently with Wreaths Across America. If you listen to the Rayford Show, you'll hear him. But he's passionate about it, along with Crime Stoppers, so I wanted to thank him for everything he's done. I'm not going to say much about the fire service agreement. Just know this, as a law enforcement officer, I did 27 years. I started in Onslow County. I worked with that man back there, Sheriff Thomas, in November of 1990, when I was with NCIS and he was at the Pender County Sheriff's Office. I've seen a lot during those 20-something years here in Onslow County. I've been transported, been wounded, injured. My family's been transported by EMS. I can't even explain the gratitude and the respect that I have for firefighters and EMS people. I can't, because I worked alongside, maybe not some of you because you're too young, but some of the older folks back in the day. Well, we always had an ambulance around when we were doing a roundup or arrests or whatever it might be. And as I retired, I had EMS folks respond just like that to my house with my father, who subsequently passed away, but with my wife and my daughter. And it was remarkable, and I really appreciate it. So I just want to let you know that I totally understand where you come from, and I have the utmost respect for you. But let me emphasize that word. Respect. I'm willing to listen to anybody. Anybody knows me, I'm a straight shooter. You can tell me anything. But the moment you disrespect me, if I hadn't disrespected you, that gets turned off. Okay? And the reason why I say that, because I have an individual that's been hounding me for the last 3 years over something really stupid. And he surreptitiously tried to get in touch with me through my other business, which I don't appreciate. And so when we sit down and talk about issues, I'm not even going to go through this fire contract. You guys got some good points. We have some points, okay? But it all starts with respect. And that respect starts when somebody's talking, you don't laugh at them. Okay? If you want to be professional, you sit there and take it. That's like I listened to everybody that came up today without making a face or laughing. I listened to them. And believe it or not, I took detailed notes. But when you sit there and someone is speaking and you laugh and try to overtalk them, that's disrespectful. And I'm a man big on respect. I speak to you a certain way, I will give you the respect that I expect you to give me. But again, I just want to say that this has become divisive. It has become divisive. It really has. And I'm not complaining about your points of view and what you feel. What I'm complaining about is the misinformation that is out there and people getting on social network and personally attacking certain commissioners. That's not respectful. It is not. It's downright hateful. Because you won't see me getting out there attacking you on your opinion, because you have a right to your opinion. You have a right to what you believe. That's called being professional, whether you're paid or not. It's called being professional and respectful to your fellow person, fellow man, to listen to them and to try to understand. We may not always agree on everything, but we can agree to disagree, and we can walk out of here and go have lunch together. That's what it's about. So what really infuriates me when I hear these people out there making comments about my fellow commissioners or me or anybody else without even giving me the opportunity to defend myself, and I choose not to, because I'm not going to stoop to that level. You know, when you pull me over and you want to have a conversation and I say I can't really talk about something, well, there's a reason for that. I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to dissuade you or anything else like that. What I'm trying to do is to keep my thoughts to myself as I'm collecting information and formulating my own opinion. Commissioners are allowed to have their opinion. Commissioners are human beings too. I'm retired federal law enforcement. He's retired law enforcement. He was in law enforcement. He's a retired teacher. She's a retired business owner. All of us had jobs prior to this. And we understand. We've been around the corner for a while. You know, I'm almost 65 years old, and I've seen a lot. And I spent 27 hard years running the streets, narcotics cases, and et cetera. So I think I know what I'm talking about. But again, I want to tell you, and I mean this wholeheartedly, I absolutely respect the volunteer firefighters. Somebody made a comment that their friends were on that memorial. Me too. I have 3 friends on that memorial. And I have one special agent that was killed in Onslow County in 1992 that just got put on the memorial. So I get it. And I was there and I remember that day vividly. Thanksgiving Day, in fact, when he was killed. So when you tell us certain things and think the commissioners don't get it, we get it. We get the fact that when you talk with each other, do it respectfully. Not just for you, but for us too. We should talk respectfully to you as well. Okay? And I'm very, very sincere when I say I have so much gratitude for first responders and telecommunicators, because your job is tough, especially for the volunteer firefighters. You're doing something. I mean, you guys that are volunteer firefighters are professional, just like someone else that's being paid. I totally agree with that. You get specialized training, and you're putting your life on the line, and you're out there doing it for what? Free? That says a lot. It shows the passion in your heart. I respect that because I can relate to that. So my hat's off to you, and I want that to be very clear. My deepest respect for all of you first responders. I pray that all you first responders are protected, just like the first responders that are cops, that respond just as well. Now, it's an old adage that says, I would never be a firefighter because I don't want to run into I'm not running towards fire. But you guys don't want to be cops because you're not going to run towards gunshot. It's a mutual respect thing, and I get it. So my hat's off to you. You know, hopefully in the future, as commissioners, we can tone it down as volunteer firefighters, you can tone it down, that we could talk like adults with respect, not disrespect, not misinformation, but truth. But here's the biggest thing, willing to listen to each other. Because you know what? You might be wrong in your interpretation, and guess what? We might be wrong as well. There's an old adage in leadership that talks about a good leader is a person that can admit when they're wrong and take corrective action to protect his people. That's what leadership's about. And if you can't admit when you're wrong or you're out of line, whether it's on your side or this side, then there's the issue. And I just wanted to throw that out there. And again, I'm not going to criticize the agreement. I'm not going to criticize the who, what, when, where, how. Okay? That's something that we can work on later. But again, you have my deepest respect. And I value your worth tremendously, and I think you do a wonderful job. And I still feel we have the best firefighters, EMS team. To my house or somewhere else with my family members. So my respect to you, my hat's off to you, and hopefully we can get this resolved and move forward in the future. Thank you all for coming and listening. It's a long session, but we all sat up here, commissioners, we take notes, we do listen. And I've got a glob full of notes that I'm going to review, and I'm going to go back over it and probably print it out again for myself. But thank you guys for everything you do. God bless you, and I hope to see you next time.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Commissioner Carpenter?
I too took notes, but there was just one thing that really stood out to me, and I'll get to that in just a second. Sitting here with this room full was really a dream to me when I was first elected and sat up here, because I thought, you know what, our community is just not very engaged. And although this might not be the topic of conversation we all wanted to have, it really warms my heart that there is so much passion in this community. And I will mention the person that I noted, Whitney Cantrell. Onslow County is a special place. You know what? I've only lived here since 2011, but it reminds me so much of where I grew up, which was a little town in California that was, I think at the time, 40,000 people. And I was raised in an environment where we gave back to the community. My parents were each of themselves, and my dad was a small business owner that demanded a lot of his time, but we were taught and we watched as our parents served in various capacities within the community, in the schools, in nonprofit organizations and such. And so that's really always been my heart, which is why I gave so much time when my kids were young. I have two sons who are both Eagle Scouts, and it really warmed my heart to see the troop here tonight, because that was my heart and that was my life for probably a good decade. And so much passion that I had for it that when we could see that our troop was shrinking, I picked up and decided that I was going to recruit all of the young people in my neighborhood so we could have a cub pack that would feed into the troop to keep the troop alive. So volunteers that are here tonight, I really get you. I really understand your passion. I appreciate it. I love it. And all I can say is, you know what? We're going to make headway with this. We're going to come to some kind of agreement here so that we can continue this. We're going to build our relationship over the next year or 2 or 10, but it's going to be for the benefit of everyone in this room and all the citizens of Onslow County. So I thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Carpenter. Commissioner Buchanan?
Yeah, where do you go from here? First place, Ricky, I want to thank you if you're talking about being disrespectful. You and I have been around each other a long time. I remember when you came to me one day, I said, we need you back on the Fire Commission, and I came back to the Fire Commission. I've been very, very workable with the Fire Commission. I've helped these new stations. I helped the first $140,000 we had in a budget. We never had a budget. You come to me and you said, we ain't getting any money from the county. That was the first $140,000 we were able to get. Now it's way up there now, way up there. But the biggest thing is that we have to work together. And the thing we keep hearing out here in the community is the commissioners want to take our stations. We do not. And we made that clear to several of you. Several of you made it very clear we don't want your stations. It's very important to us that you keep busy and keep doing the job you're doing. but we have to have a contract. And one of the things that really upsets me the most, and I'm probably more upset about this whole thing than anybody because I put my heart and soul into it, trying to get this done, trying to work it out. And I mean, we sat many, many nights that just didn't work. My wife says, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "I'm trying to get this figured out." I'm the one that put two of you on this board, and one of you slapped me in the face. Two that I appointed to the board, and one of them disrespect me. That doesn't work, guys, and that's what everybody's trying to say tonight. You know, it's just, I don't know where to go so much with this because it's so emotional for me because I want it to work, but you're not trying to help. And one of the things that I want to make very clear, let me read this to you. The 2025 Fire Service Agreement was developed through the collaboration committee process that included multiple fire chiefs as well as county commissioners. The document was further revised following a comprehensive meeting with all fire chiefs. Significant compromise and changes were made along the way in response to the concerns from the volunteer fire agencies. We worked hard on this. I went to the commissioners, and I went to the manager, and I went to our attorney, and I said, let's pull out the volunteers that we're paying for. Just take them out of it, because that meeting that we had for you with 3 hours, you kept on and on and on about the volunteers that we paid, that you didn't want us to be responsible for them. So I took it out. I got to take it out of the contract. There's a lot that we did here that you're not acknowledging. You're too busy trying to slam us, threatening us by saying, well, we'll get you you won't get elected next time. I'm not up here to get your votes. I'm up here to do what is right for the citizens of Onslow County, and that's what I'm doing. And my heart is in this, in my soul, and Ricky and some of you out here that know me well know that. And some of you, I know your fathers, and I worked with your fathers as a cop. And one of the things I can tell you as an officer, but there's many names on that wall down there that I know. 2 of them. Terry Lanier, I was the second officer to see him when he was stabbed. The body of Terry Whitehead, who was in the river, I was one of the divers that pulled that body from the water. So I've been there, guys. I've lived it, but you guys mean a lot to me, but you got to work with us. And what we're getting right now is a lot of you working against us. 1 or 2 that are really working hard, and I don't understand their philosophy. But I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank the Boy Scouts for what you've done for us tonight. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Marks for acknowledging me. I have 2 Purple Hearts, one from Vietnam. I had one as a deputy sheriff when I was shot in Swansboro. I have 13 pellets in my left arm, but the emergency responders took me to the hospital right after I was shot. So I've been there, guys. I've lived in the trenches, but I want to support you. But you got to work with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Buchanan. Commissioner Padgett.
Thank you so much. It's never too late, and I want to say this because when I was coming up, my family couldn't afford for me to be in the Cub Scouts or the Boy Scouts. 69 years later, I'm finally a Boy Scout. And I want to thank y'all so much. I am proud of this. I'm going to hang it in my office on my wall. But I do want to thank you. And I thank everybody that come. I also want to say to the volunteers, y'all mean a lot to me. I know a lot of you. A lot of you know me. Some might like me, some might hate me. But I want you to know we're doing what's right or trying our best to help you succeed. There's nobody here who wants your department. Nobody's going to take your department while we're here. That is not the intent of this. The intent is for us to work together, make sure your funding is where you need to be. We recognize volunteerism is hard to get. We don't want to make it harder. We just want to make it better so you can survive. And you are true professionals. I don't know who wrote the post. I read about glad they're finally taking over, need professionals. Y'all are the professionals. I'm not a professional firefighter, but y'all are, each and every one of you. And the hours you put in it, the credit hours you put in it is unreal, of dedication. And I'm here to thank you for that. We're going to make this work. It's going to come out. We're going to make it work. And everybody out there is going to enjoy it. We're going to be one team, a team that protects the citizens of Onslow County. And I want to thank you so much for it. Just come on, let's work together and make things better, because that's all we're trying to do. This contract is a year to year. I asked for it to be put in the budget ordinance so we could protect that, to make sure that this don't happen again, that we can make sure we fund you adequately, to make sure that you survive, and make sure you've got the equipment you need to protect the citizens of this county. And that's what we're up here to do, is to protect all the citizens in this county. And you've done a wonderful job, and I'm gonna support you to keep doing that. And thank everyone for coming tonight. And y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Commissioner Paget. First, what a great night for scouts to come out, for folks to come out with their kids, to come out with their parents, because this is what it's about. Civil discourse, putting it on the table and talking about it. So you're getting to see government in action. Sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it's ugly, but it's necessary to get to the bottom line. I would tell you I'm not a politician, but folks, the minute you sign your name on the line, you're a politician. I'd like to say I'm not, but ain't no need for me to lie to you or lie to myself.
You say no.
Maybe, no. But I've read all the emails. I answered a lot of them. Some I answered and got hollered back on. I hadn't been hollered at in the email in a long time, but, capital letters been there wearing me out. So that caused me to say, well, I'm not going to email that one back because that's not how I operate. Some of you seen how I operate because I've sat across the table from you, or I've talked to you, and something that's been real interesting in the last week, I have discovered there's just some firefighters out there that I had your kids when they're in high school or middle school, and it's quite interesting to see that and hearing about where they've gone and what they're doing and the successes they're having. But people I've worked with, emailing and things, and I don't get mad about it. I'm not mad tonight. I was just wondering, what am I going to say? How am I going to do it? And the biggest thing is I'm not going to let my emotions lead me. I'm not going to take anything personal, because our job is to fix things, to make things good, to move it forward and listen to each other. And we're going to walk away some things disagreeing on and not happy with. But one thing everybody in this room can agree with is anybody in the fire services, we all can agree they're crazy, because nobody in their right mind runs to the fire except for you. I've had too many experiences with you in the last couple of years, and I've shared it with you. You pull up in your driveway and Verona's there. Folks, Verona's not in my district. I'm in the Southwest District. Verona's there. I outran Southwest because I got ahead of them somehow, and I beat them to my mother's house. Southwest was there. Verona was there. Rhodestown was there. Everybody survived except my brother's 1987 Firebird. It didn't do so well. It's gone. But my mother's house is still there. She's still there. Just a couple of weeks ago, the brush truck, Southwest, and I think 9 Mile, Back Swamp may have made it. Turkey Creek may have been on the way, I don't know. But everybody was rolling up to my house, and I had no idea what was going on. I just happened to be sitting at the high school at Southwest. And somebody said, where'd Miss Foster go? Something about her house on the fire, and she took off. She was there in another meeting. And they didn't see me sit in the corner, and I was, my Miss Foster? They're like, oh, I didn't see you there. I said, my house? So I had to get out there, and it was great. It was great seeing y'all there and taking care of business. The better part was I got back home that evening, and so I told my wife, I'm going to walk over in the woods and see just how bad it was. Because, you can't tell how bad it was until you get out there and see what's burned. And I got in there, and I was like, holy cow. We were minutes from losing everything we owned. But the lucky thing is, you do, I didn't think about it, but a hollowed out tree or a hollowed out stump after a brush fire is a dangerous little rascal. Because when I walked in there, I started seeing flames flicker out of a tree 8 feet in the air, and the flames flickering out of it up there. That ain't. So I called Ray Silence and said, Ray, I can try and put it out, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But he said, oh, no, don't do that. So he sent somebody out, and then next thing we had was 7 or 8 of those little hot spots, and the brush truck come out there, and I was at the house. They were not. They had to leave the house. And it's just, it's amazing to what you do. You know, I've been out to Back Swamp with some barbecue and fried chicken. Except Diane Dale, I think, burned mine on purpose one Saturday. I'm not sure. But she's proud of that community. She's proud of that fire station. You know, you go out the 9 Mile. I mean, folks, we're talking generational things. We're talking generations. We're talking generations that built the fire stations, that have cooked barbecue, fried chicken, turkey shoots, everything in the world. And unfortunately, the times are starting to change on us. But I talked to a chief earlier today, and you know, it's not y'all, it's not us. It's all of us. But the unfortunate thing is, it's not the fire men and women. It's not the firefighters, the chiefs. It's not the commissioners. It's the daggone corporations. It's the corporations that's taken the industry that's built to protect property and save lives, where communities will come out on a Saturday and work their butts off to raise money to do things for their fire station and their community. It's going out and riding on a hayride, knowing that your money's going to the local fire departments. Those days of that kind of money being raised, they've bypassed us, not because of us, not because we don't want to come out there and support it. We still do. The problem is the corporations and the industries that build the trucks and the frames and the turnout gear and everything else has decided that we are at their disposal. They're putting price tags on things that they know that we have to buy. You have to buy. They're putting things on us. When I say us, I'm saying the community, the citizens of Onslow County. That is who's hurting us. It ain't you. It's not us. It's those beyond us that are putting things on us because they can. If I'm not mistaken, Chief, there's something going on in Washington that's trying to get a handle on this. You got engines that were $350,000 a few years ago that are $1.3 million today. It's not about the money that we're giving, because guess what? We're not giving you anything. Onslow County citizens, that's your money. That's your money going to these men and women. That's who's taking care of it. You're good stewards. Absolutely. And by no means would I ever dream of saying, I want your assets. I want it all. I want to. Never. The one thing we want to guarantee, Ricky, we want to guarantee. Tim, we want to guarantee. I don't know if Kevin's out there or not. Mark, we want to guarantee that those assets will always stay in your community, at your station. Because the unfortunate thing is, we're growing so fast. Look around. Our generations are starting to become fewer and far in between. Those of you that have built these buildings, put the first brick there. It may be your granddaddy's granddaddy that signed off on the property that built the fire station. We want to keep it in your community, in your hands. We don't want it to go anywhere else. Because I remember, I don't know if our Southwest guys are in the house tonight or not. This will tell you how old I am, and some of you are going to smile. You knew it was noon on Saturday because the fire alarm went off. And I remember that fire alarm was going off JR at Southwest. It was on Edwards Loop Road. We couldn't hardly get 2 engines in there, much less the guys that showed up to jump in them to go somewhere. But now just a couple of miles down the road's a beautiful station. Roads down, built with the backs and the sweat and the money from the community. We outgrew it. You did a heck of a job of putting that station together and putting it out there, something to look at, to be proud of. Onslow County and Rhodestown's proud of what you're doing. But you know, you're standing on somebody else's shoulders. Others done things before you ever arrived. It ain't like that anymore. We're disappearing. Cody's, who's behind you? Who's coming next? We're getting fewer and far between. Our families are packing up and they're moving. We have family farmland that ain't family farmland anymore. It's got 750 houses on it. Because our kids don't necessarily feel like we do. But we got great people that transferred here with the Marine Corps or the Navy that jump right in and they're a part of it. But we don't know when we disappear what those behind us are going to want to do. We want to ensure that, Ricky, you've done it forever. I think your daddy did it forever. And when I say Peru Road, you can understand exactly where I'm talking about. Because my daddy grew up in Sneads Ferry. I grew up in Southwest. My mama grew up in Verona, right down the road from the fire station. We don't want it to go anywhere but right there. No one wants to take over a volunteer system. But we've grown to where we have become something that we don't want to be. But I tell you what, we all can agree on. We all want what's in the best interest of Onslow County. We want to make sure that when someone calls 911 and that gets dispatched, we want everybody showing up. And we want you back at your houses, going into the new rooms out there at Piney Green, and taking care of what you're supposed to do to take care of you afterwards. Piney Green, your outfit out there is amazing. When I drove by the old one and drove into the new one, oh my gosh. We should just do commercials on it, I don't know. But don't let outside influences cause us to be adversaries. We're not. We're citizens of Onslow County working together to ensure that we take care of the citizens of Onslow County. I ain't mad at you. I don't think you're mad at me. You might be. I don't know. But ain't nobody mad at you. And I hope no one's mad at us. Y'all ain't disgusting. We're not disgusting. Because we all here for one thing. That's to ensure that we take care of each other. We'll continue to talk. We'll continue to work. Let's get the things done. Let's not fight fires. Let's get together for a Saturday social, cook some barbecue, fry some chicken, have a turkey shoot, and hope and pray we never have to deal with a fire. But always know we got the men and women in our county, Whitney, that makes it so great. Because Onslow County is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Let's maintain the volunteer system, even though it's become a hybrid system. Let's still maintain that the volunteers run the volunteers. Let's make sure that the communities still have their firehouses. And let's make sure when we go to sleep at night, we got people that are going to answer the call. And that at the end of the day, it's not about the name on the back of the jersey. It's about the name on the front of the jersey. We're Onslow County. Let's show them we can fight a little bit, but at the end of the day, we're going to take care of each other. And don't let those other folks that want to destroy us get the upper hand. Let's show them that you want to put $1 million on a truck, we're going to get that son of a gun. We're going to get a ladder truck. We're going to take care of it. Gentlemen, ladies, thank you for coming out here tonight. We appreciate your passion. And number one, I appreciate the fact that when I asked you not to clap, you didn't, because that's respect for each other. I respect you, and you respect us. And at the end of the day, let's take care of business. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Adjourned.